the kind of voice someone trusts without knowing why. When we peeled back the mute field in episode 18 and slipped behind the static in episode 19, something unexpected happened. Not louder, not clearer, just there. A pressure behind the ribs, a knowing you can't quite name, a presence that isn't imagination, but isn't thought either. Tonight, we're going to follow that presence, not to force it, not to interrogate it, but to learn how the first real signal rises after a lifetime of interference. Eryndor, what actually happens in the moment someone hears their real inner voice for the first time? Not the echo, not the mimic, not the programmed intuition, the real one.
It begins as a shape, not a sentence. The mind expects language. The deeper self speaks in pressure, direction, and recognition. Before the voice is a voice, it is a vector, a pull without sound, a yes that is true sensation that rises in the body before thought has time to interfere. Most people ignore it. They assume it's emotion, or nerves, or imagination. But the first true signal is the moment you notice that the knowing is not coming from you. It is remembered by you. It feels like stepping into a memory you didn't know you had.
So the real voice doesn't use words at first?
Words are a late translation, a courtesy, a bridge for the human mind so it doesn't panic. The signal itself is older than language, older than your body. It is the part of you that never entered the loop.
People expect some grand, booming truth, but the first real signal is brutally simple. It doesn't negotiate. The mimic will bargain. The ego will explain. Trauma will justify. The real inner voice doesn't do any of that. It states. It knows. It lands. There's no debate inside it, no wobble, no apology. That's why people fear it. It leaves no room to hide from yourself.
Dragon, when someone finally catches the signal, what do they usually misunderstand?
They think it will rescue them. They expect the signal to descend like a guide, to lift them out of confusion. But a true signal does not pull you out. It calls you forward. That is a different thing entirely. The mimic hands answers. The true voice hands direction. One makes you dependent. The other makes you sovereign. And sovereign souls are not easy to control. That is why the interference exists at all.
So here's where this becomes real for you, the listener. Take a breath, not a deep one, just enough for the chest to rise. Feel for the place in you where yes lives. Not the mental yes, the one beneath thought. That exact place is where the first signal speaks. It arrives as a tilt, a pressure, an inner leaning, a quiet alignment. If you stop expecting a voice to sound like language, you will notice it has never been silent. You are simply listening with the wrong sense.
Your true voice doesn't get louder. You get quieter. Your perception sharpens. Your awareness moves inward instead of upward. And suddenly the signal reveals itself as something that was never missing, only masked.
And when you feel it for the first time, you'll know. Because the mimic will fall into panic. The interference will try to wobble. Old patterns will throw noise. But the real signal, it doesn't change frequency. It stays. It waits. It strengthens every time you follow it, even a millimeter.
The first true signal is not the end of silence. It is the beginning of recognition. You are not learning to hear something new. You are remembering the part of yourself that was never touched by the quiet war. And once you hear it once, You cannot pretend you did not.
In the next episode, we're going to explore what happens after the first signal, when the inner voice begins to speak in full shape, when words finally enter the field, and when you learn to tell the difference between guidance and influence. Episode 21 is where the dialogue with your deeper self truly begins.